How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I might just get you to start off with introducing yourself. So anyone who doesn't know who you are or your book.
Okay, hi. My name is Ami Bella, and I am an upcoming contemporary romance author. I am debuting my first novel, Mold My Future, which is set to be released on August 27th.
What was your inspiration for Mold My Future?
Um, my inspiration was the telenovelas that I grew up watching, and telenovelas are Mexican soap operas. They're very filled with romance and drama and like plot twist, and I just wanted Mold My Future to be a love letter to that. So Mold My Future has everything from the plot twist and the romance and like the spice and everything. So that was the inspiration.
I can't wait to actually read it. It sounds really good. Really good.
Yeah.
What drew you to writing?
Um, Definitely having control over my imagination and actually putting into words what my mind comes up with. I really look back at my childhood and like when I was younger, and I was always just coming up with like different scenarios, different storylines, and all that. And I never knew that I could like actually put that down onto writing. So when I was introduced to that, it was just amazing that I was able to expand that and like have no bounds. So,
It's also great to write down stories that you want to read as well, or like you haven't really seen published as
um,
well.
definitely like ones that I haven't seen. Just like have always having something new, definitely.
How did you choose which character to center the story around?
So for Mold My Future, since it is a series, book two was supposed to be the one that was coming out first. But when I was laying that out and I was like developing the side characters, Rosie came up and I'm like, hey, I actually like your story better. Maybe I should put you first. And it really kind of flowed from that point. Like I was really struggling to lay out book two, but with Rosie's story it was like, okay, this is what it is, this is making sense. And it really led to have a good foundation for the rest of the series. And I truly do think that her and Victor kind of set a good foundation and like a good example for the rest of the couples. So
And she obviously wanted her book to come out first. She wasn't happy
yeah.
being second.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I'm coming out first.
What was your process for writing your Mold My Future?
Um, Definitely laying out the book with the chapters, making sure that I have all the scenes that I want down and incorporated. And also just going through each chapter, writing down a rough draft and just going back, rereading it, make sure that the plot makes sense and that everything works well together before I go in to fully develop each chapter. And also checking the word count. For me, the word count was what was like, okay, this is where I'm at in the process. And making sure that I was always reaching my goal was what helped most of the time.
Did you have any alpha or beta readers or editors go through your book as well to
Yes,
help you with plot holes?
mm-hmm. My first beta reader, she really helped develop the book into what it is now. There was a whole uh side plot to the book that was completely written out because she's like, this is just not working. And I'm like, you're so right. So I wrote it out and now the book is just so much better. So yes, I did have a beta reader for that.
It's really great to have them because they also help you champion your your book as well.
Yeah,
Really get behind it.
definitely.
Did you have a favorite moment to write in your book?
Yes, chapters 30 and 31 are were my favorite, like most anticipated parts to write. I cannot say anything about it right now because they are spoilers,
Yeah,
but it was very gut-wrenching if I gotta be honest. So
we need
I
a bit.
just hope,
We need a bit
I
of
just
hope
hope,
juice.
yeah. But I just hope people love it as much as I did. So
I'm sure everyone will. I actually can't wait to get it.
yeah.
Um, what is your approach to world and character building?
Um, my approach is to write what I know. Um, I I live in Chicago, so that's so the neighborhoods that I've like grown that I grew up in and all that, that is what I'm like, okay, I know this, so this is what I can bring into the world. This is what I could have inspired by that. And for the characters, I just like to let them write themselves. Like if I'm writing it and in the moment I'm like, oh, this is their favorite food or this is what the type of style they wear. I'm like, okay, that's what it is. And I just let that kind of pile all together so that that's what makes them them. And oftentimes I find it becoming like remnants of people that I have in my life. So it's like there's little incorporations there. So that's also kind of where I get the characters from.
That's actually really cool that you take inspiration and things from where you are, and it's always probably easier to write what you know than try
Yeah,
to set it
definitely.
somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely.
Which of your characters do you relate to the most and why?
Um, I have to say Rosie's best friend, Luna, she's does play a major part in the book, and I just think that she's very bubbly and loud in front of her friends, but shy in like front of other people. And she's a gossip. In Spanish, we call it a chismosa, and she's just like me. I really do like anytime I'm with my friends or anything, I'm like, so what's the new like what's the news? Like what's the gossip and all that. So um I really relate to her, and she's also a writer, so
That's amazing.
yeah.
How has writing and publishing a book changed the way you see yourself?
Um it's definitely given me more confidence and understand my capability and my resilience, because never in a million years did I think I would be publishing a book, let alone having written a book.
Hmm.
Um, so the fact that I'm here now in the point that I am, knowing everything that I've like experienced is like really just like a blessing and a relief. So
I think sometimes it takes you by surprise what you can actually do. And
yeah,
like,
definitely.
the inspiration hits and everything, like you can actually do what no anything.
Mm-hmm.
Are
Yeah.
there any books or authors that inspired you to become a writer?
Lauren Asher. She was one of the first authors I was exposed to when I came back to reading, and her Dreamland Billionaire series I just absolutely fell in love with because of the three heroines. I loved that they were women of color, and I mainly gravitated towards those books because of that representation. I don't usually typically see books where like I feel like I am represented being a woman of color. So it was very refreshing to see, and it was like, okay, so she's writing this, and it kind of came gave me the courage to be like, if she's writing stories where their people are represented, then I can do it too.
Definitely. And I guess we're starting to see it more in the fantasy and it's slowly coming into the romance. And I'm always so excited when I actually see and read that the main heroine is the woman of color because it's
Yeah.
normally not.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I really do love seeing more of the representation, especially in the romance genre.
What advice would you give to a writer working on their first book?
Knowing that your book will change. The first draft isn't going to be the final draft. And if you think that you feel that your book is bad, just know that it's only going to get better. And to let it sit, like let it be bad now, but just keep going at it, keep writing so that the changes are made so that it's better.
That's fantastic. That's really helpful advice for people who would be working on their first book. Do you
Mhm.
have a favorite writing snack or drink?
I actually don't snack when I'm writing because it distracts me. So I typically drink water.
Fair enough. Did In that vein, I'm guessing you wouldn't be listening to any music. Do you listen to music when you write?
I listen to like ambiance music, so like nature sounds or like classic or like instrumental music. Um, there's a channel on YouTube called Calm by Nature, and I really love them because they always do those and they're seasonal, like their theme. So there's like one for Halloween, one's for Christmas, one's for spring, summer, and they actually draw the art that's included in the video themselves. So it's like I'm like I love it even more because it's like supporting an artist and all that. Um, but I do have a playlist that's like an Enchanted Forest theme, which is like just Celtic music because it really just allows me to dive into a fantasy world and be like, okay, this is writing right now.
So no, nothing with lyrics that might get you singing or feeling
No,
distracted.
I can't do that. I am terrible at multitasking. It's like I just yeah.
When I read, I have something on in the background, but it's typically something that I've already watched before. So I
Mhm.
need to have background noise, but it's something that I will actually like listen closely to.
Yeah. I always wanted to do like have background mute like noise like that, but I'm always just like, oh, that's interesting. Let me watch it.
I want to know what's going on properly.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Who has been the biggest supporter of your writing?
My friends have been a big support. One of them has actually read my book, and my therapist has also been a big support. She was one of the first people that I told, but my mom is my number one. She was the first person I ever told about my book, and even when I was younger, she unintentionally told me like, "Hey, you should write a book." And I guess a few years later, I did. So she's my biggest supporter.
She knew what you were capable of and what she thought you
Yeah.
were doing.
Yeah, even though I never even wrote at that time before, she knew.
What is the most valuable piece of advice you've been given about writing?
Write like nobody is going to read it. That I had that as an affirmation on my vision board last year when I decided to start writing a book, and it has definitely helped me to let go and just allow the story to be written, to not be focusing on what can be what would be judged on, because at the end of the day, the story is mine and it should stay true to me as possible.
That's perfect. I think that you always are your worst critic as well. And if you
Mhm.
spend time going back and trying to change it because you think someone's not going to like it, you're never going to get your book written.
Yeah, exactly.
And my final question is, if you had to describe yourself in just 3 words, what would those be?
I would describe myself as quiet, funny, and creative.
They're,
Those are the three.
they're perfect words to describe. Thank you so much for the interview today. I hope
Thank you so much for the opportunity. This was very exciting and I'm very glad to have this.
I'm really glad to have interviewed. I can't wait for Mold Your My Future to come out.
Thank you. I'm excited too. I hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure I will. I'm in the fantasy, I'm the romance kick at the moment, so I'm like
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
loving everything. All right,
that's good. That's good. All right, bye.
bye,
Thank
Ellie.